Have you ever walked into a room and then completely forgotten why you went there in the first place? Maybe you set down your glasses somewhere and spend the next 20 minutes retracing your steps, only to find them sitting right on top of your head. If that's ever happened to you, you are not alone. These little slips of memory can feel frustrating, sometimes even worrying, especially after we reach 60. It can make us wonder, is this just normal aging, or is my memory slipping away for good? The truth is, some forgetfulness is perfectly normal. Our brains, just like our bodies, go through changes as we get older. But here's the good news. Memory loss is not an inevitable part of aging. In fact, there are simple, powerful habits we can practice every single day to keep our minds sharp, our memory strong, and our confidence intact. Imagine being able to recall names, keep track of appointments, and enjoy reading, puzzles, and conversations without constantly second-guessing yourself. Doesn't that sound like a wonderful gift to give yourself? That's exactly what this conversation is about. Today, I want to share with you 5 simple, practical habits that can protect your memory and even improve it, no matter your age. And don't worry, these habits aren't complicated or exhausting. You don't need fancy supplements, expensive brain games, or complicated routines. What you need are small, meaningful changes that fit naturally into your daily life and give your brain the nourishment, stimulation, and rest it craves. So, let's dive in together and talk about the very first habit that can make a tremendous difference: moving your body. Now, you may be thinking, what does exercise have to do with memory? Well, the connection between physical movement and brain health is actually stronger than most people realize. When you go for a walk, stretch, dance, or even do a bit of light gardening, you're not just helping your muscles, you're helping your brain, too. Movement increases blood flow throughout the body, including your brain, delivering oxygen and essential nutrients that keep your brain cells alive and thriving. But that's not all. Physical activity stimulates the release of certain chemicals, like endorphins and brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Don't worry about the long name, just think of it as brain fertilizer. This chemical helps grow new brain cells and strengthens the connections between them. And stronger connections mean better memory, quicker thinking, and sharper focus. Think about the last time you went for a nice walk outside. Remember how your mood lifted a little, and you felt calmer, maybe even clearer in your thoughts? That's not just in your imagination. Scientists have found that walking for even 30 minutes a day can significantly improve memory and lower the risk of dementia. And here's the best part. You don't need to run marathons or push your body beyond its limit. Even gentle movement counts. Chair yoga, tai chi, slow dancing in your living room, or walking with a friend around the neighborhood. These all feed your brain with what it needs, and it doesn't have to feel like a chore. In fact, I encourage you to pick something you actually enjoy. If you love music, put on your favorite oldies and dance around the house. If you enjoy being outdoors, plant some flowers or tend to your vegetable garden. If you like socializing, join a walking group or a senior fitness class. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. Every time you move, you're doing your brain a favor. Now, here's something else to think about. Exercise doesn't just boost memory. It also helps with sleep, mood, and energy, which are all deeply connected to brain health. When you sleep better, your brain has more time to store and organize memories. When your mood improves, you feel more motivated and engaged, which keeps your mind active. And when your energy is steady, you're more likely to take part in activities that challenge your brain. It all works together like a beautiful cycle, and movement is at the heart of it. So, the first simple habit to protect your memory after 60 is to make movement a daily part of your life. It doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes or 50, as long as you keep your body moving and your blood flowing. Now, let's talk about the second habit, what you put on your plate. We've all heard the saying, you are what you eat. But did you know your brain is especially sensitive to the foods you choose? Think of your brain as the control center of your body. It's working 24 hours a day, using a huge amount of energy, and it depends on the nutrients you give it to function well. If you feed it poorly, it slows down. But if you nourish it wisely, it can stay sharp and resilient, even as you age. So, what should we be eating to protect our memory? One of the most powerful diets for brain health is often called the Mediterranean diet. Now, don't let that name intimidate you. It doesn't mean you need to move to Italy or Greece to enjoy the benefits. It's really about eating more of the foods that are naturally good for your brain, and less of the ones that wear it down. Let's start with the good stuff. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, and collard greens are packed with vitamins and antioxidants that protect your brain cells from damage. Berries, especially blueberries and strawberries, are like little memory boosters in a bowl. They contain compounds that improve communication between brain cells, helping you learn and remember more easily. Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential for brain function. In fact, studies have shown that people who eat fish regularly have larger, healthier brains as they age. Nuts, seeds, olive oil, whole grains, and beans are also excellent choices. These foods reduce inflammation in the body and keep your blood vessels healthy, ensuring steady blood flow to your brain. And don't forget about hydration. Your brain is made up of about 75% water. Even mild dehydration can cause confusion, fatigue, and memory slip. So, make sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day. Now, let's be honest. It's not always easy to change our eating habits, especially if we've been cooking a certain way for decades. But here's the encouraging part. Even small changes can make a big difference. For example, you might start by swapping butter for olive oil, or replacing a sugary dessert with a handful of fresh berries. Maybe add 1 or 2 fish meals each week, or enjoy a big colorful salad with your lunch. The key is to think of food as fuel for your brain. Each healthy choice you make is like giving your brain a gift. Of course, there are also foods you may want to limit. Processed snacks, fried foods, sugary drinks, and too much red meat can increase inflammation and clog your blood vessels, which is bad news for your brain. That doesn't mean you can never enjoy a treat. Life is meant to be enjoyed. But moderation is important. Think of it like this. You're not giving things up, you're simply choosing foods that love you back. I'll give you a little example. One woman I know, in her early 70s, started adding just one smoothie to her daily routine. She blended spinach, banana, blueberries, and a little almond milk. Within weeks, she said her energy improved, her mood felt brighter, and she noticed she was remembering names more easily. It wasn't a magic pill. It was simply giving her brain the nutrients it needed to thrive. So, the second simple habit to avoid memory loss after 60 is to nourish your brain with the right food. Think colorful fruits and vegetables, omega-3 rich fish, whole grains, nuts, and plenty of water. Your brain will thank you, not just today, but for years to come. We've now looked at how moving your body and feeding your brain can protect your memory. But there's another equally powerful habit that ties everything together, and it has less to do with what you do physically, and more to do with how you challenge yourself mentally. We've already talked about how moving your body and feeding your brain can make a world of difference, but protecting your memory isn't just about the physical side of things. Your brain also thrives on challenge, stimulation, and novelty. Just like a muscle gets stronger when you use it, your memory gets sharper when you give it regular workouts. That brings us to the third habit, keeping your mind actively engaged. Now, when I say workouts for the brain, I don't mean solving complicated math equations or studying for a college exam. Brain workouts can be fun, enjoyable, and even relaxing. The important part is that you're learning something new, stretching your thinking, and giving your brain new pathways to explore. Think about when you were younger and learning a new skill, maybe playing an instrument, driving a car, or cooking a new recipe. It felt challenging at first, but over time it became easier, and your brain adapted. That process of adapting is what strengthens memory. Even in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, your brain is capable of building new connections, a concept scientists call neuroplasticity. That's just a fancy way of saying your brain can keep growing and rewiring itself, no matter your age. So, how can you put this into practice? You might pick up a new hobby you've always been curious about. Learn to paint, try your hand at knitting, or start learning a new language. Even something like trying a new card game or puzzle can light up your brain in powerful ways. Reading books you normally wouldn't choose, writing stories, or learning to play a new song on the piano are all excellent forms of mental exercise. And here's a little tip: variety is your friend. If you've been doing crossword puzzles for years, that's great, but your brain has probably gotten used to them. Mix it up. Try Sudoku, jigsaw puzzles, or even brain training apps if you enjoy using technology. The more diverse your challenges, the more parts of your brain you activate, and the stronger your memory becomes. Now, I know some people worry they're too old to learn something new. Maybe you've thought, at my age, I can't start learning Spanish or how to play the guitar. But that's simply not true. Age might slow down the speed at which we learn, but it does not stop us from learning altogether. In fact, seniors who take up new hobbies often notice their confidence growing alongside their memory. They feel more purposeful, more alive, and more connected to the world around them. Let me share a story with you. A gentleman I met in his late 60s decided he wanted to learn how to play the harmonica. He had never played an instrument before, but he loved music. At first, it was slow going, but he stuck with it. Not only did he start playing little tunes after a few months, but he also noticed something surprising. His memory for daily tasks improved. He said he wasn't forgetting names as often, and even his mood lifted. That's the magic of challenging your brain. And don't underestimate the power of social interaction here. Joining a book club, a choir, or even a local art class gives you the double benefit of mental stimulation and social connection. Talking with others, sharing ideas, and hearing different perspectives all keep your mind active and your memory fresh. So, the third habit for protecting your memory is to stay mentally active. Learn, explore, and challenge your brain with new experiences. The more you use your mind, the sharper it stays. Now, while mental stimulation is vital, there's something else we often overlook that can be just as powerful for memory: quality sleep. That brings us to the fourth habit, and it's one that many people underestimate. Think about the last time you had a poor night's sleep. Maybe you tossed and turned, woke up too early, or just couldn't drift off. The next day, how did your memory feel? Were you struggling to remember details, misplacing things, or forgetting appointments? That's not a coincidence. Sleep is like a filing system for your brain. When you sleep, your brain organizes and stores the information you've taken in during the day. It's almost as if your brain is saying, "All right, let's put this memory over here, and that one over there, so you can find them later." Without good sleep, those files get scattered and your memory suffers. As we age, our sleep patterns naturally change. Some people find it harder to fall asleep or stay asleep, while others feel they need less sleep than before. But here's the important part: you still need quality, restful sleep to keep your memory strong. So, how can you improve your sleep after 60? One helpful step is creating a calming bedtime routine. Just like children need a wind down before bed, so do adults. Dim the lights in your home, avoid screens for an hour before bed, and try reading a book, listening to soft music, or practicing deep breathing. These small rituals signal to your brain that it's time to rest. Your sleep environment also matters. A cool, quiet, dark room can make a big difference. Comfortable pillows and a supportive mattress aren't luxuries. They're necessities for healthy sleep. If noise is a problem, consider earplugs or a white noise machine. And then there's the role of lifestyle. Regular exercise, as we talked about earlier, helps regulate your sleep patterns. Eating a lighter dinner and avoiding caffeine late in the day can also help. And here's something many people don't realize: even short naps can be beneficial. A 20 to 30-minute nap in the afternoon can refresh your brain and boost your memory without interfering with nighttime sleep. Now, I know some people think, "I've always been a poor sleeper, there's nothing I can do." But that's not true. While it may take time and experimentation, improving sleep is possible at any age. And the payoff is incredible. Seniors who get enough restful sleep not only notice sharper memory, but also better mood, stronger immunity, and more energy. I once spoke with a woman in her 70s who struggled with forgetfulness. She thought it was the beginning of serious memory decline. But when she started keeping a regular sleep schedule, going to bed and waking up at the same times each day, she noticed a huge difference. Within weeks, she said she could recall conversations more clearly and even felt motivated to start journaling again. It wasn't that her brain was failing, it was that her brain wasn't getting enough rest. So, the fourth habit for avoiding memory loss is to make sleep a priority. Think of it as giving your brain a chance to recharge, organize, and repair itself every single night. We've now looked at the power of movement, the fuel of nutrition, the spark of mental stimulation, and the restoration of sleep. Each of these habits works together, building a strong foundation for memory and brain health. But there's still one more piece of the puzzle, one final habit that ties everything together in a way that's both surprising and inspiring. We've already explored the power of movement, nutrition, mental stimulation, and sleep. Each of these plays a vital role in keeping your memory sharp and your brain healthy. But there's one more habit, one that often gets overlooked, yet it can be just as powerful as the others. And that's staying connected with people. Human connection is like medicine for the brain. Think back to a time when you had a good, hearty laugh with a friend, or a long conversation with someone you love. How did you feel afterward? Chances are you felt lighter, more energized, and maybe even more clear-headed. That's no accident. Social interaction isn't just good for the heart, it's good for the brain, too. When you talk with others, share stories, and engage in meaningful conversation, your brain has to work. It listens, processes, remembers details, and responds. It's like a mental workout disguised as a pleasant chat. And beyond the mental challenge, connection provides emotional support, reduces stress, and boosts mood, all of which protect memory. Loneliness, on the other hand, can quietly harm the brain. Studies show that people who are socially isolated are at a higher risk of memory decline and even dementia. That's because loneliness often leads to stress and depression, which wear down the brain over time. But the flip side is incredibly encouraging. Staying socially active can actually protect and even improve memory. Now, socializing doesn't have to mean big parties or being the life of the crowd. It can be as simple as calling a friend, chatting with a neighbor, or joining a small group with shared interests. Book clubs, church groups, senior centers, and hobby classes are wonderful ways to meet people and stay engaged. Even volunteering a few hours a week can create connections that light up your brain and give you a sense of purpose. And here's something beautiful to remember: connection goes both ways. Not only do you benefit from talking with others, but you also give them the gift of your presence, your wisdom, and your friendship. Many seniors underestimate how much they have to offer. Your stories, your experiences, your encouragement, they matter. And when you share them, you strengthen not only your own memory but the memories of those around you. I remember speaking with a man in his 70s who joined a local storytelling group. At first, he thought it would just be a bit of fun, sharing stories from his childhood. But what he found was remarkable. Not only did he recall long-forgotten details about his past, but he also felt more connected to the younger members of the group. His memory sharpened because he was using it actively, and his spirit lifted because he felt valued and heard. That's the power of social connection. So, the fifth simple habit to avoid memory loss after 60 is to stay connected. Nurture your friendships, build new ones, and keep conversations and laughter a regular part of your life. Now, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. We've talked about moving your body to keep blood flowing to your brain. We've explored how nourishing foods fuel memory. We've seen how challenging your mind keeps it sharp, how quality sleep restores and organizes it, and how human connection strengthens and protects it. What's important to remember is that you don't have to do everything perfectly. You don't need to transform your life overnight or check off every habit every single day. What matters is progress, not perfection. Each small step you take is an investment in your memory and your future. Maybe you start with a short walk after breakfast. Maybe you swap one sugary snack for a handful of berries. Maybe you decide to finally try that pottery class you've been curious about, or you call an old friend you haven't spoken to in years. These are not huge, impossible tasks. They're simple choices that, over time, add up to a stronger, sharper, healthier mind. And here's something I really want you to hear. It's never too late. Whether you're 60, 70, 80, or even 90, your brain is capable of growth, healing, and improvement. Yes, aging brings changes, but aging also brings wisdom, resilience, and a unique kind of strength that younger people don't yet have. You've overcome challenges, you've learned countless lessons, and you've proven your ability to adapt. Protecting your memory is simply the next chapter in that journey. So, as you go forward, remind yourself that your memory is not slipping away beyond your control. You have the power to influence it. Through movement, food, learning, rest, and connection, you can keep your brain active and vibrant. Imagine yourself a year from now, remembering names more easily, enjoying books and conversations without frustration, feeling confident in your sharpness. That's not a dream. That's a very real possibility when you embrace these habits. I encourage you to reflect on which of these habits speaks to you most right now. Maybe it's the joy of movement, the comfort of nourishing food, the excitement of learning something new, the peace of better sleep, or the warmth of connection. Start there. Build from that place. And before you know it, these habits will weave naturally into your days, strengthening your memory and enriching your life. I'd also love to hear from you. What habits have you found helpful for keeping your memory strong? Have you noticed a difference when you eat healthier, get more sleep, or stay socially connected? Share your thoughts in the comments. I truly believe we can all learn and grow from each other's experiences. And if you found this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll never miss more tips and encouragement designed especially for living your best life after 60. Remember, protecting your memory isn't about fearing the future. It's about embracing the present with hope and determination. Each day is an opportunity to strengthen your brain, to enjoy life more fully, and to create new memories worth cherishing. So here's to you, to your health, your happiness, and your sharp, vibrant mind. No matter your age, you have so much life and brilliance ahead of you. Take these small steps, nurture your memory, and keep shining bright. Here's to living your best life at any age.